Ready.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, how is everybody doing today? Chatting with Enchatin, episode 2. Today we're live with another co-host, and it is DJ MS. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Name's Dylan. Live in Japan. I've been playing Clash Royale really since it was released. I've been around with Enchatin stream since pretty much he started. Played with Sandstorm a little bit. Played with other couple teams. Now I don't really play competitively. I don't have the time to, but I still like the being involved in the Clash Royale community, doing what I can to help.
All right. So we have a couple of topics that I wanted to discuss today on today's show, with the first one being the balance changes that just happened in Clash Royale. Now, with the balance changes that just happened, did the meta change? And if so, what new cards are coming in and what cards are kind of getting phased out a little bit?
I think the mortar, it's minimum range. That's it's a nerf, but I still think you'll see a lot on ladder just due to the fact that it's the best free to play card for players that don't have the money to gem their accounts or really grind grand challenges. I think the Lava Hound buff really wasn't significant. I mean, 5% hit point seems like a lot, but with all the anti-air troops that have been put in the game since the Lava Loon meta, I think that it still isn't really going to be seen a lot on ladder.
Yeah, I think Lava Hound's not really going to be seen too much there. I think the cards that are coming in to the meta a little bit now, Lumberjack mini pack at 7% health is amazing for them. I think that the Lumberjack, it's been one of those cards that is on the teeter-totter of it can be one of the most broken cards in the game. Was this 7% health a little bit too much to the Lumberjack, do you think?
I think it's the plus 7% hit points. I think that the Lumberjack was already a good card. It was already used with like the Golem Baby Dragon deck, and I think now with the buff to the Lumberjack and also the Night Witch getting a small buff, I think that we'll see a lot of Golem, Night Witch, Lumberjack type decks with Baby Dragon, Tornado, just small different combinations. I think that the Lumberjack buff was unneeded. I think it was taken away from him when they released Royal Ghost, because it was just 3 elixir versus the 4 elixir cost for the Lumberjack. And Royal Ghost was just so much better with the invisibility and everything. But I think the buff was unneeded. I think that the nerf to the Royal Ghost would have brought the Lumberjack usage rate up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing. I think the Lumberjack was in a good spot, but now that it's 7% more health, I definitely think it's going to be a little bit bigger. 2 things to answer now. Lumberjack or Mini P.E.K.K.A? And the second thing is, which one would you rather use now, Lumberjack or Mini P.E.K.K.A? And the second thing is Zappies. We're going to see a little bit later on when we go over our esports discussion. We have a couple of replays from Colton throwing us. Thank you a lot, Colton W83. He showed us a 12-win Zappy deck that he made. Now, Zappies, are they coming back, or do you think the air attack isn't enough to make it a tier 1 troop in Grand Challenge decks and in Pro Seed?
I think as the meta starts to shift, we'll figure out more. But right now, I don't really see the Zappies being used much in competitive play. I just think they're a weak card for what you get out of him. I don't think that it's that good. I just think there's better options. You get Colton W83 is a great player. So of course, when you're talking about somebody that's that good, they can get a 12-win challenge with just about any card. I think that I like the Hog Princess Mini P.E.K.K.A deck, and I think that with the hit point buff to Mini P.E.K.K.A, I'll be using that a little bit. So I would use the Mini P.E.K.K.A over the Lumberjack, but I think most players will use the Lumberjack more because you're going to see a lot of Golem with the Lumberjack.
Absolutely, absolutely. I got a crazy golem deck as well with this. It actually doesn't even have poison in it. It's got Prince instead of the poison, and then the Lumberjack instead of the Royal Ghost in the new one. So far, 5-0 in a Grand Challenge. That means absolutely nothing, but you never know. Could be a deck that's featured on this channel if I get a 12 win tonight. If I don't, well, you know what? Just this conversation never happened. But let's get into our next discussion. Our next discussion is going to be how to improve the shop. The shop has been pretty good now after it got improved a little bit, with the new daily deals. It's 6 cards. It's a lot more than it used to be. But, there still is some restrictions to the amount that you can buy. You can only buy 10 here, 15 there, 2, 3 epics at most. Do you have any ideas on how the shop could be better in any way to, help out either casual players more or pro players? And tell us why.
I think that I don't see Supercell making many changes to the shop just due to the fact that I think that this shop is making them more money than the old shop did. Just legendary wise, I'd like to see them do something kind of like they said that they did with the chest, where if you have a card fully maxed, you'll see it a lot less. I'm hoping that maybe if you have 1 or 2 legendaries max, that you'll see other legendaries in the shop, and I think that they should maybe at least let you buy 2. They don't have to bring back 3, but I don't think 1's enough. It just takes too long to max legendaries or get them up to even like a level 4 where they're usable on ladder. I'd like to see them bring back or make a change where cards that aren't maxed you see more often in the shop, and then more legendaries, being able to buy more legendaries. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think the shop changes that they made were pretty good. I just feel like I'm still stuck in a couple of situations where I can't buy anything from my shop, because I'm max commons, max rares.
Yeah.
I would like them if you have max commons, because I'm right now looking at my shop, and currently I have. Let me actually pop this up on the screen really quickly to show everybody what I am looking at here. That's not how to do it. Oh man, I have to put the gameplay on. Oh, there it is. Let's do it. Oh, that's just so bad. Wait. All right, look, if you're looking at the screen right now, guys, I have 3 commons in my shop. That is not really that good. I mean, I'm max here, max here, max here. Like, I can't buy these, can't buy this. Like, I can't buy anything. Yeah, we got a little cool. Well, we're going to open this. Why not? Hey, at least we got an epic chest here. 2 baby dragons, 3 mirrors. I was full of all those. Well, I'm full of witches as well. Great. I just got 4 cards that I did not need because were all maxed out on the epics. I could have used something else there. But as you can see here, I can't buy anything really in the shop. I would say if you have max commons, that you can only see 1 common in the shop instead of a potential 3 that I'm looking at right now. We lost our. Oh man, we made a lot of upgrades to the overlay and everything. So I feel like cap it at only being able. It's like if everything is maxed, right? If all my commons are maxed, lock the commons to only 1 slot, or have it so that commons are slot 1 and 2, rares are slot 2 and 3. And slot 4 and 5, or slot 5 and 6 would be only epics and legendaries, so that you'd be guaranteed to have at least 2 epics or an epic and a legendary every day in your shop. I feel like that would help out a lot of players, and as long as you have that guarantee, I feel like it would be really good. And when they put the epic chests and, all the special offers, I feel like that should go in the top left-hand corner where the commons are and take away a common spot. That way it cycles everybody a little bit faster and it helps people get those epics and legendaries, because those are the most important cards for most people to max out. Now, we have another question coming in, and this question is actually from Twitch. well, it's actually Clash with Zach, one of the managers of Sandstorm. He asks, do you think we already had the best meta game we will ever see? Some memorable ones. Or is there going to be a new meta to come that will be the best with these new balance updates coming out?
I think that the best meta might have already passed. I think that, at least from what I've seen, is I see a reoccurring pattern at this point of new legendaries getting released that are overpowered. The meta becomes super stale. Everybody complains about it. Nobody enjoys the game. They make some sort of attempt at I guess not a terrible update or balance changes, but I would say not great balance changes. Like, especially like the one goblin nerf wasn't like anything. So I think that they really didn't do anything to try and really change the meta. I mean, I think that they need to really do something big, a huge balance change, and really rework a lot of cards if they want to see the meta kind of shift back to something that people enjoy more than what it is now.
Yeah, in my opinion, the best meta was I'm gonna say this, and I'm probably gonna get a little bit of hate for it, but I think the best meta, in my opinion, was either the Goizen meta or the meta right after. Maybe even the meta where E-barbs were prevalent was probably the best meta. Right as like people started to learn how to counter the elite barbarians so they weren't that strong anymore, and you had, hog decks coming out still, and everything still being viable. You had Giant E-Barbs, you had Expo, you had Lava Hound. Like, I was top ladder. I finished 41 global that season, and there was Expo, there was Giant E-Barbs, there was Lava Hound, there was bait, there was everything in that meta, and it really was a very diverse meta. But it wasn't like one deck was like, I'm gonna run this deck down your throat every game and just beat you because there's nothing you can do about it. Now you're seeing with we just had bait, where bait was just so strong for so long, and now it's even worse. I think, in my opinion, now bait is just taking over the game because it's so strong. You have to deal with a skeleton barrel, you have to deal with a goblin gang, you have to deal with a princess, a goblin barrel, and like that's four things, and an inferno dragon. I'm sorry, so that's four things you either have to zap or log, and you can't, or five things, and you can't put five spells in your deck. So you have to figure out how to deal with all of that. And I feel like now the meta's turned into very stale and very, do I take log or do I take zap? Do I take, five counters to this zap bait deck, or and beat it and demolish it, or do I kind of ignore it, play a golemish deck or something that gets beat by it, and then just take the L if he plays a zap bait deck? And I feel like that's something that needs to be addressed and taken out in the game, because if you just play one type of archetype, and if I don't have three answers for it in my deck, I lose. Should not be allowed. I feel like if a deck to be balanced, two answers should be able to deal with it. Three is asking a little bit too much, because you just cannot put three spells in a deck, or you can't afford to put three units just to counter one deck. But let's get on to our next question of the day, and that is quests. How to fix the quest. I played yesterday goblins. I played goblins, I think it was 50 times or something like that, or 26 times. What I did was I just put goblins in my deck, really quick cycle, and just played two games and got the quest. But I lost both games because I played skeletons, goblins, the cheapest possible, deck you can play, and just cycled really quickly. How do you feel they can fix quests, or do you have any unique quests that they can maybe add to the quest log that'll be better?
Right now, I think that, yeah, I'm not a big fan of some of the quests. Like, I mean, especially for under-leveled players, it seems like when they do, like, you have to use a 6 elixir cost card, or you have to, yeah, like, use goblins or something like that. Some people don't have cards that are leveled up enough. So if they're pushing ladder, like if you're pushing ladder with a mortar deck and you have to use an epic card so many times, well, your epic cards may not be leveled up enough to even be usable on ladder. And so then you're just out of luck, and you're going to have to lose X amount of trophies just so you can complete the quest to get the like 10 points that you only get anyways. I'd like to see like a recycle, like how you can change the quest, but I'd like to see just some better options than what they have that is better for free-to-play players and that won't affect you on ladder or grand challenges or whatever it is, just because you have to do this certain quest so you can open the chest that you're going to get. I think that they just have a lot of changes that they can make to the quest. It's good that they do it because I like the fact that you can get all the different types of chests for free, and it's good for free to play players, but I think it needs a little bit of a rework. How do you feel about it, Enchatin?
Well, I feel like they're in a decent place right now. I feel like they can get away with some of them, but I feel like they should have a so right now, if you look at the quest in game, you have pretty much 2 quests and then your daily quest. What I feel like you should be able to do is 3 quests daily that pop up and reset every single day at the exact same time. So you know exactly when it's going to reset, and you can get your quest done at your leisure. I don't like doing 3 quests. I did all my quests at one time, and now I have to wait forever for these quests to come back in instead of doing it the moment it pops up. So I feel like they should have it so that it pops up on the day. You know exactly when it's going to pop up. Let's say 4 a.m., right? 4 a.m. it pops up in your shop, or the same exact time the shop resets is when it resets. Let's just say that, make it easy for everybody. It resets now. You get 3 new quests. You can do them throughout the entire day, and you don't have to worry about, okay, I finished it at 11:59. My shop resets at 12 o'clock. Well, guess what? Now I get new quests again. I was only able to play at that time. So, but now tomorrow I'm only able to play in the morning. So I'm only able to play at 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. And guess what? 10 a.m. So I have no quests for the morning. I can't do it. I have to wait another 24 hours, and then quests just start to add up and stack. And, if you can't play a lot, or, if you get hamstrung by time, it kind of hurts you. So I feel like 3 quests every day, reset at, the same time your shop resets. I feel like that will be a good way to really get everything going.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah. Now, let's go over to our next topic. Our next topic is a pretty hot topic for the esports scene, and it's how can esports become more appealing to the casual viewer. Now, esports is mainly the hardcore best players in the game. As we just spoke about before, you said something about Colton W83 about how he can get 12 wins with almost any deck, even including Zappies. That's great, but I'm a casual player. How much can I really get out of using that deck if he can get 12 wins with it, but I can only get 4 or 5? Is that appealing enough for me to watch, or do we need to see more during the matches or anything like that to help me as a casual viewer get more engaged and really enjoy what's going on?
I think for casual players, at least like coming from me, the way I really got into Clash Royale was, at least the competitive side, was just watching like good players. Like I started watching you play grand challenges because I hadn't been playing the game like serious at all, and I didn't really do anything. And then seeing like people that were good, like do grand challenges and get 12 wins and watch, I think kind of watching their actual gameplay of real decks, not just like a troll deck with zappies or whatever. I think you have to look at like what players are using against each other in like MGL worlds and stuff like that, and then watch games like that, competitive games, if you want to be a casual player that's trying to get better. If you just want to be a casual player and just be a fan, I think that it's okay, really. I think that they enjoy watching anything. Like, I wouldn't mind watching that video I'm not going to try and take tips from it because I know that I'm probably not going to get a 12-win grand challenge with that Zappies deck, but it's still enjoyable to watch. I think pros, like professional players, kind of like, I guess, reaching out to casual players have been, I think that as I've got more involved in the Clash Royale community, that I've seen that it's really a more close-knit community than I thought at first. And those tournaments where like just random people can qualify to play with pros, I think that that's a good thing. But I also think that there should be stuff like retweets and just random winners, because even for casual players that want to play with pros, they're not going to be able to win a bracket or a tournament to play with those pros if they're just a casual player. It's always going to end up being like people that could be pro that just aren't playing for a team. I think that a lot of changes, I think not that a lot of changes, but there could just be small changes that people could do just to reach out to more casual players. But I think that live events do a good job of that, just because people like to root for somebody. They like to root for an individual player like Surgical Goblin, or they like to root for teams like Nova or Hashtag Gaming, Sandstorm. I think that it will continue to grow. I thought that Clash Royale Worlds was kind of a big step forward for it, and I think that it'll continue to grow. How do you feel about it, especially being on the casting side and have gotten to travel to all those events and stuff? I'm sure you have great insight on it that everybody wants to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it could be a little bit more appealing to the casual viewer with more engagement towards them. Pretty much the main thing that a lot of, the live events are missing is interaction with the people that are there. Most of them are just mainly for production and just throw production down your throat so it looks amazing, but when, you're there and everything like that, for the casual viewer, it's kind of like, all right, so what's in it for me? Like, yeah, I'll go see my player. That's cool. Guess what? He plays for 6, 8, 9 minutes, and then he's done. Maybe have like meet and greets at these places and little stuff like that, to where maybe the casuals can interact more with their pros, which they're there for. They love. As the esports scene grows, maybe that can help a little bit. But there's a couple of ways. We'll probably be touching on this as the show progresses. But as far as right now is concerned, just the casual viewer just getting more engaged is definitely a very, very big thing that really needs to happen in order for this to grow. Now, our last topic that I wanted to discuss is the preview of last week's esports. We have mentioned it a couple of times on this episode. It's MGL Worlds right now. It's currently in the round, the semi-final round. The quarterfinal round has happened last weekend, and I just want to briefly go over everything that happened in MGL Worlds as that went down this past weekend. So here's what we're going to do. We're also going to have some replays of, let's do this, let's take off this. One of these days I'll get this right.
Which games are you wanting to start with?
We're gonna start with USA versus Brazil. So
Okay.
So that'll be the first one that we go over. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna be watching Colton W83's replays versus Jordic, another pro player there. And I just want to go over what happened in this matchup. As we see, the United States versus Brazil. Brazil won this one 5-4. And USA started off strong with a win from CMC. And then, they kind of struggled a little bit. Goo took down Crap. Samuel took down Colton. But then the U.S. came back. Skills and Mini Minter took the victories on Surgical TS and Ren and Kava. And then what happened? I mean, it was looking good for U.S. And then what happened? Towards the end, the last four sets.
Yeah, I think I was really surprised. I thought that I didn't see that CMC coming out and sweeping Action. I thought that was huge, and I thought that was a big kind of momentum swing right off the start in favor of USA because Action's such a great player, being one of the CCGS champions and going to King's Cup, and that crazy exciting match with him and Surgical Goblin. I thought that was a huge momentum swing right off the start, and then Nova Goo, he just got the best of Crap. That was a good match, good series between the two of them. And same thing, Samuel's a great player. He got the best of Colton W. And then Skills and Mini Mentor are both they're all great players. It was just stacked teams. And then I don't know what happened at the end. I was surprised to see Oxalate get swept, and really I thought Music Master would be able to pull it out, especially he had such a great CCGS, and he's been so good lately that I just didn't see. I guess it's not that I didn't see. I thought that he would pull it out for USA. One thing that I thought, I didn't expect him to play Vulcan. I thought that was kind of a surprise for me. I thought there were some other players that I would have gone with before Vulcan. No disrespect to him. I just think that there were some other players I would have put in the lineup before that, but that's the captain's decision. And I think Brazil had a really good team, and they just made the best of it after USA came out strong. How did you feel about the match?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all went well. Music Master at the last spot did really good in RPL right before this, but he didn't use the Royal Ghost. It was pretty much a mirror matchup twice between him and Gustavo. The only difference was Music Master had Goblin Gang, Gustavo had the Royal Ghost, and Gustavo edged him out twice in a row to take the victory for Brazil. And that was it. I mean, it's pretty much just a story of Royal Ghost being really overpowered in the current meta, and I think he used that to his advantage to be able to take down Music Master and defeat USA, taking USA out of MGL Worlds. Brazil was going to be our first semifinalist. Now, we have the next match was Mexico versus Venezuela. Another huge upset. Venezuela lost the first two. Sergio Ramos 3-0'd Raider. Then Dark Shadow was up 2-0 versus Diego B. And Diego B reverse swept him. He went 3 in a row. Everything was going on Mexico's side. Everything was in favor. Mexico was absolutely dominating. And I'm just looking at this screen right now, and apparently these Mega Knights are invisible. That's insane. I don't understand why the Mega Knights are invisible. But now, if you looking at this, 2-0 Mexico, Diego B just reverse swept. Okay, he just literally reverse swept the entire matchup. And then Adrian Piedra's going, the pride of Mexico, Adrian Piedra. And then you got Pompeo, and both of them lost to Trainer Lewis and Lich Pentakill. And then Pedro, Aslity Chakun, and Force Wolf close it out 5 in a row. If I told you before this match Venezuela was going to win, and they were going to win 5 sets straight, what would you have said?
I would have thought you were crazy. I remember when I was watching it and I saw Sergio Ramos come out and sweep him, and then like you said, Diego B had that huge reverse sweep. I was looking at Mexico's lineup thinking, oh my gosh, they have Adrian Piedra coming up, Pompeo, and then Trainer Chris. I know that Trainer Lewis is a great player, and Venezuela had a good lineup, but I thought that there was a chance that Mexico was going to 5-0 them with Adrian Piedra, Pompeo, and then Trainer Chris. I definitely didn't think that Venezuela was going to come storming back like that to win 5 games in a row after Diego B had pulled off the reverse sweep. I think that in my opinion, that's got to be one of the biggest upsets in MGL Worlds, and one of the best comebacks that I've seen so far. I definitely didn't see that coming. It was shocking to me, but props to Venezuela. And hope of the best of them in the semifinals. What did you think about, I mean, Mexico's lineup having the person that won CCGS Worlds, beat Music Master in the finals, having Diego B, Adrian Piedra, Pompeo, Trainer Chris, such a stacked lineup, and having all those people starting their lineup all in a row, and then getting reverse swept after taking a 2-0 lead, and I guess dropping 5 in a row to lose the match.
Yeah, I was absolutely shocked, stunned. It was one of those situations where I was just like, what just happened? And I mean, Trainer Chris and Rayo both getting 3-0'd was insane. And Venezuela, you got to give it to Trainer Lewis, though. All the props have to go to Trainer Lewis because he rallied them from the brink of death. Because I feel like if Adrian Piedra somehow, some way was able to pull that victory versus Trainer Lewis, the morale on Venezuela would have been absolutely crushed, especially spiraling downhill from the Diego B reverse sweep. But Trainer Lewis stabilized the entire roster of Venezuela and pretty much, in my opinion, turned the tide and was able to get Venezuela the victory. Now, they were a second semifinalist, and then we went to Sunday when China played the Czech Republic. Now, I think going into this, everybody was picking China. China has been a powerhouse through the entire MGL world. They've blown through everybody. We're talking 5-0s. We're talking 5-1s versus the best teams. They just do not lose, and they are showing up to play. I mean, look at their lineup, absolutely stacked, and they showed why. Czech Republic, though, amazing run to get here. I mean, you can't say anything bad about the Czech Republic. Them getting this far was a story on its own. It was like an underdog story where they really, really, really performed over the top and took care of business the entire way. But unfortunately, their run had to end here. Did you think there was any chance that Czech Republic / Slovakia was going to be able to win this match?
I got to be honest with you. Yeah, I didn't think that they would be able to pull it out. It was even closer than I thought it would be. I was thinking China was going to come out and maybe 5-0 them. Yeah, China, I think could possibly win the whole thing. They just have such a stacked team, especially I really like Wins. I think Wins is one of the best players in the world. He's always coming up with new creative decks and stuff like that. And I think that in the semifinals, if not in the semifinals, definitely in the finals, you'll see China come out with some new crazy decks, and definitely with how the with balance changes just coming out, I think that you'll see some new crazy stuff from them. I'm looking, or I really think China could win it all there, but there's so many stacked, or not so many stacked teams, but all the teams left are stacked that they could easily be upset as well. But I'd like to see APAC definitely a lot of times has a different meta than what we have in the United States and kind of EU area. So I'd like to see what kind of decks they'll bring to their next match. But yeah, like you said, the Czech Republic / Slovakia kind of had like a Cinderella story type dream run. And I think China was just too much of a powerhouse for them to get through. And I think that, no shame, but China was just too good.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry for the invisible P.E.K.K.A guys on in this game. I just don't know why it's invisible. I guess the balance update may have just changed some things, or something must have happened. I mean, this is just a replay that we're looking at where the P.E.K.K.As and the Mega Knights are just completely invisible. But let's go on to our next semifinalist. There, China was moving on. They are our third semifinalist, and they're going to be playing the winner of this game, the Colombia-France game, and France won this 5-2 pretty handily here. And very interesting that Azili's, one of the best players in the game, kind of took the first loss here. The pride of France took the first loss, and kind of Colombia was looking good here. Oscar getting the 2-2 versus Doberman, just wasn't able to finish it off. And it kind of was one of those situations where it just started to go downhill from there. I mean, if you look at France's lineup, Azilis, Doberman, Tom Dedestor, Paul, Lupanji, Donkey Kong, Blazer, Isla, Max Lemenis, they are all powerhouse players. And Colombia just didn't have enough. I mean, Codigo, Andres, Mario Bros, Oscar. I mean, they're a good lineup. But when you're looking at somebody like France, who is a powerhouse in here, I just think they did not have enough. And I'm super excited to see France versus China in the semifinal matchups. What were your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Azilius, I think, has been one of the best and most consistent players in Clash Royale competitive scene. Doberman was kind of, I guess, has become more known ever since I think it was maybe ESWC. I'm not 100% which live event it was, but I remember seeing him and I was like, wow, he's good. I think he made it to the finals or the semifinals of that. Like of course, Lupanji, Donkey Kong, Islaw, Max Lemenis. They didn't even get to Islaw or Max Lemenis, but there's another two great players on their roster. I'm really looking forward, like you said, to them versus China. And I really, in my opinion, I'm gonna pick the winner of France and China. I think will win it all. Colombia, I think, again, was kind of a story like the Czech. I think that they just ran into too big of a powerhouse team for them to handle. Um, I think I didn't even know if they would get. I think the most shocking match was just Azili's dropping it, but other than that, I think that they were just outmatched by France. France just has too many. I guess, like all-star players players are just too good. How are you seeing the rest of MGL Worlds going with France and China matching up and then Brazil and Venezuela matching up?
Well, I honestly do not know what's going to really happen with the rest of MGL Worlds, but I do think that China might take the entire thing. They are a powerhouse, and I do believe that they will. They're going to probably take it, and that's just because they are just so super strong, and I feel like they are a powerhouse that from the beginning was destined to win. I mean, they took everybody down by like 5-0. We're talking about not even dropping sets the entire way. And I think they may have only dropped like 10 throughout their 9 games so far. 10 just sets, which is absolutely insane. That's like one set per game, which is absolutely phenomenal. But I mean, I don't really know what's exactly going to happen in the future, but I mean, let's face it. China's got a powerhouse team. France has also got a powerhouse team. I think that's the game to watch. But on the other side, you got Venezuela, Brazil. That's also strong lineups. My final prediction: China, Brazil. Brazil loses to China 5-3. But anything could happen.
Yeah, I think you could be pretty spot on with that prediction. But like you said, anything can happen with China having such a powerful lineup, and France is definitely not a team to sleep on. They have a great, powerful lineup. Not only powerful lineup, but an experienced lineup with Azilis and Doberman, Lupanji, Donkey Kong, Islaw. All players that are seasoned in live events and stuff. So I think that they won't crack under the pressure like some of China's players could. I think Brazil is also a team that they have some seasoned players on there, and I think Wen is one of the best players out there. I also think that I would never count out Trainer Lewis in Venezuela, so I'm looking forward to both matchups, and I'm sure everybody else is too. It'll be great to see who can make it to the finals. It's going to be good matches for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's going to be amazing matchups throughout the rest of the way. But that's going to conclude this episode of Chatting with Enchantin, guys. This is DJ Ameth's. All of his links will be in the description below on this video. Thank you for coming out and co-hosting with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity and, just talking about the balance updates and MGL Worlds and what's been going on with all the matches and everything. I appreciate the opportunity and chat. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, everybody. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Chatting with Enchantin. Please let me know in the description below what we can improve on, what we can do better to make this show a lot better in the future. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. All right. Thank you very much for coming on. Much appreciated, my friend.